We are talking about Termination. This is a science fiction anthology movie put out by High Octane Pictures. Now, I have to clear up some confusion because this one got me. So, the collection of films collectively by High Octane Entertainment is called Termination, okay? And it has this very nice kind of poster art, kind of like a cyborg woman. However, if you put in Termination on IMDb, it'll come up with a short film with the same artwork that is not featured on this anthology. So, a little bit of a confusing mishmash here. So if you do IMDb Termination, you'll see the same artwork, but that movie is not on this collection of films. Anyway, so now we've got that out of the way, let's talk about what is on. So it's 5 movies, 5 short films, one of which is split up into 2 parts, which Top and Tail was the film. But let's crack on first of all with the one that for me was the absolute standout. And this is actually a foreign language movie called Breaker. And this is a Japanese cyberpunk movie. And straight away, because to be honest with you, when we'll get on to the other films, I found them a little dull. But this one, within seconds, it grabbed me because of its very kind of flashy visual style here. You know, you'll be reminded of Blade Runner, but also things like Akira and anime. A very, very dynamic kind of futuristic cyberpunk kind of landscape where people are kind of dealing information. And it really focuses on 2 characters. This woman who is dressed in this kind of strange headgear, possible has a bit of a criminal past, and she approaches a friend of hers who is some type of breaker, some type of, hacker type. Anyway, and she's got this kind of special information, and what it turns out to be is this kind of AI that downloads itself into this kind of hacker's consciousness. And if you've ever seen the movie Upgrade, it plays a little bit like that. So we have this 2 consciousnesses in this one body, and then she is being pursued by her creators and things like that, and she kind of takes control. I won't spoil really too much into it, but it's extremely good. Very, very well put together, and like I said, it's immediately arresting. The one downside I have with this short film is there's a fight scene in it, and the fight scene is very poorly choreographed. Outside of that, though, it's a visually interesting short, which is high energy, you know, beautiful to look at, and obviously, certainly for me was the kind of the standout, even though it is the one foreign language movie on this collection. That one is, I think, is the 4th film, technically speaking, although the first one, as I say, Top and Tail's the movie. So let's talk about the first one. Again, I mean, to be fair, all of these films are visually quite interesting. They all have very kind of nice visual designs, and this one's no different. It really focuses on this kind of like a space mission, and we have this kind of guy gets kind of seemingly kind of trapped down on this kind of planet, and then kind of the first half of the kind of like this movie, and then the tail end of it, I say, it plays the second half of it, and we see him maybe going some type of crazy, and what his compatriots are doing. To me, the narrative of this one was just all over the place. Visually, it looks okay. I mean, initially I thought the sets really looked like sets, but yeah, I just think the narrative structure of this movie was just all over the place. It really did. It was actually quite a confusing film about what was kind of going on, and I actually thought the storytelling side of it was quite poorly done. Visually, I'd say it's okay, but the story just doesn't grab you, and it just seems a little bit of a jumble, to be honest with you. The second film is this one where we have this woman seemingly go out on a quest to try and find some water, and she is seemingly like the kind of the reluctant daughter of the tribe leader or what have you. And she comes across this complex where there's a guy inside who seems like he may help and may have water, but he may have his own agenda. Not a lot to this film, again, in regards to narrative. I'd say it's a little weak because there's not a lot going on, really. The opposite problem to the last one. But the thing that let this one down for me, I thought the acting was quite poor. Now, I don't think this, obviously, English is their native language here. Yeah, they just did the acting that wasn't particularly good. It wasn't too bad of a story, to be fair, but not all that interesting. And as I say, the performances were quite stilted for me. The third one was aboard this kind of train where there are these two kind of guards, for lack of a better word, and they are sort of on this train. And there's a kind of like a woman who is behind this kind of perspex sort of shield, and they don't really know what she's there for, and seems to be some type of prisoner. And they discover there's these corpses that have been hidden behind this kind of secret compartment, and inside one of these kind of like coffins there is a sphere that may be giving off some type of influence. Again, the story not, it's fairly basic, but again, it's only a short film. I thought this one was actually okay, to be brutally honest with you. Again, the visual effects were quite good on this one, and you'll be reminded a little bit of Snowpiercer being a kind of a science fiction train kind of movie. But yeah, it was serviceable, this one. I think the acting was not too bad here, it was okay. Then we have Breaker, which I said it was to me the strongest one. Then we have one which is an Australian film where we have this. I think it's like she's meant to be like a reporter or something, and she ends up interviewing this conspiracy guy, and he tells her that there's these kind of double gangers like skin crawlers or something they called, and who kind of come and replace you, a little bit like Attack of the Body Snatchers and things like that. And inevitably there is a confrontation with these kind of body doubles, so to speak. Again, it's all right. It's just okay. I think this one, the narrative gets a little bit lost about what it's kind of trying to do, especially in the kind of the latter half of the short film. And again, because it's a short film, we have this woman who's doing these interviews, and she seems to almost get too kind of involved with this guy too quickly. Again, it's a short film, so I appreciate there's time constraints here, but to me, she was a little bit too invested in this guy a little bit too quickly for it to make a proper sense. That one is actually a contemporary film. It's actually set in today, I suppose. And then the last one, like I said, is the second half of the first movie, which to me was the weakest one, and was just a total mess in regards to its narrative. So for me, overall, this collection was on the weaker side, or at best kind of average. The one bright spark was Breaker, which was absolutely fantastic. If I was to review that one on its own, I would give it an 8 out of 10. But as a collection of science fiction stories, to be honest with you, I'll give it a 5. But there's only, for me at least, there's only one very, very good one, a couple of average ones, and one quite poor one. So 5 out of 10. Have you heard of this? Have you seen it? As I say, don't get confused with the other short film, also called Termination, just to muddy the waters there. 5 out of 10. Let me know what you thought if you have seen it, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.